What's going on YouTube? It's the Green Shiz. I have an awesome video in store for all of you. Recently there was an extremely large purchase made by a gentleman named Jikh. I believe I pronounced that correctly. I've been a huge fan of this guy named Graham Stephan. He does a finance channel. Andre came into Graham's life. They do a podcast together. I'll link it down below in the description, but it recently came out that Andre, through his YouTube channel, made an announcement. He purchased a large Pokemon collection. So I'm going to do a live react video, kind of watching that as it plays through. So let's get right into this video right here. So okay, here's the video. Jikh revealing my $200,000 investment. Roll tape.
Alright, he's here. He's here. This is my friend Gary. He's the level 100 king of all Pokemon, legendary collector, here to authenticate this crazy transaction. This is my new friend Michael. He came from California.
Gary King Pokemon is always there. Anytime there's a big trade, big sale, Gary shows up. I'm pretty certain Andre's in Vegas, Gary's in Vegas, Graham Stephan's now in Vegas, so we'll see if he pops in here. But most of those guys are in Vegas, and this looks like a gentleman I may have seen before. Big Pokemon collector. Let's see. His name, Michael.
To see a bunch of strangers he's never met.
He's got a really high skill level. Look at that. Wow.
Before to deliver the ultimate set of Pokemon. These are all my other friends. Brett Knudsen, who also loves Pokemon. He's a collector too. Here with Irvin, the camera guy. This is the Mystery Man. And this is my friend Dylan. He knows.
Mystery Man. Is this the guy Michael they just introduced? He's now a Mystery Man? Okay.
Knows nothing about Pokemon, but he's about to learn how awesome it is. These are my parents, Vlad and Maria, the Jikachus.
The Jikachus.
Power level over 9,000, the legendary of legendaries. This is not a Pokemon channel, but this is a channel about investment.
Okay, now I'm guessing he bought the entire Shadowless set in PSA 10. Looking at this table, and I guess we'll see if they actually reveal the price. Is it actually 200 grand? I guess we'll find out. But this is not something you come across every day, that's for sure.
Investing. Also, this is not an investment. This is a speculative bet that I made thinking that tomorrow these pieces
Great decision, Andre.
of paper will be worth more than they are today. But will they really be? Nobody knows. I think they will. The Pokemon franchise has grown to be the highest grossing franchise of all time, beating out brands like Hello Kitty, Mickey Mouse, Harry Potter, and even Star Wars. Pokemon is worth close to $100 billion. So in today's video,
Hello Kitty's the number 2.
I'm gonna spend an ungodly amount of money for pieces of paper, and I hope it takes you back to your childhood like it does to me.
Michael, walk us through it. Thank you for having me. Wow, we've got something pretty special here today.
Shout out to Michael, Professor Oak Cali on Instagram.
Over the course of the last 3 years, I've completed a PSA 10 Shadowless base set Pokemon collection.
Damn. That is not common. I'd guess there's probably a complete 102 card set. I know the Chansey's pretty low pop. So this is the restrictor. Usually the Chansey is that restrictor. There's not many of these. I think 15 of them, I'd say. So there's probably 10-ish, maybe complete 10 sets maximum.
And I think this is probably one of the rarest collections in the Pokemon hobby, and yeah, it's a real privilege.
I think I had seen an interview recently where he recently bought the Chansey So he had recently completed this set, Mike.
Let's be able to share my collection journey with you now.
First, before we open this, tell us how rare this is. How many sets are there in the entire world?
When it comes
Gary,
to
looking
Pokemon
good,
and
brother.
base set,
Looking good.
there's actually 3 different versions. During the same time of production, they came up with a
That's a first edition.
shadowless variant as well, which they
Shadows
released
being
without
sold.
the first edition stamp, same classic artwork, and then the unlimited version. Now, when it comes to graded PSA Pokemon cards, the shadowless variant by far is the lowest population across the board. Certain grades, like a PSA 10 for example, the shadowless is about 3 times rarer than the first edition version per card. So for example, the shadowless 10 PSA Chansey is a top 15 card. So that means theoretically there can only be 15 sets to this date somewhere floating in the world. I think that it's probably closer to like 10 or 11 complete sets in the entire world.
The first edition was collected some, back then. People collected the first edition, but as soon as the unlimited hit, they got them and people opened them to play with in that because they didn't realize that there
That Zapdos, your boy's got 2 of those PSA 10, just so you know.
was going to be a new artwork set,
Right.
unlimited, coming
My
out. They
favorite
thought
set.
that was the
By far.
unlimited set. And so they were nothing special because they weren't first editions.
So shadowless is technically more rare than first editions.
Absolutely, and especially in these conditions. Rarity-wise, it's not even close.
Let's crack it open.
Crack that oil.
I think you're gonna crack it.
Air
All right.
case.
Flip the switch, go ahead and press the buttons.
Press the
and go
buttons.
for it.
It's so high tech. Oh
Wait for it. Here it comes.
my gosh. Hollows on the left. We have here a shadowless PSA 10 Alakazam.
That thing
Oh
is
my
a
gosh.
beaut.
Check this out.
This particular set is one of the cleanest sets in existence. Like, yes, PSA 10s are gem mint. There are some that are stronger than others.
Blastoise, and I have a very special history
Not
with
all
this card
PSA
because
10s are
Blastoise is the first 3 that I've ever pulled.
Shadowless.
How much is this card approximately?
I can tell you the
can
ones that have
certainly-
sold in the range from $10,000 to $15,000 just for that one card.
Well, I was considering trading a Blastoise and a Moltres for a Charizard. My mom's like, no, don't do it. So I kept it.
Moltres.
My mom was my negotiator.
Tomato,
Oh my
tomato, I
gosh.
guess.
And this is the rare one.
That Chansey,
is.
only 15 in the world. This is what she looks like.
The egg.
50.
The egg.
It's a pretty amazing card, and I
lines.
got word that there was this shadowless 10 Chansey available, and I didn't care what the asking price was. I made contact with the owner. That weekend, I literally got on a plane and flew to Austin, Texas, to meet the owner in the airport
Old
to buy
shirt.
it.
No way.
And yeah, pretty special.
How much was the Chansey?
When an opportunity
Chansey was 20 to 28,000.
comes up and you cannot miss the opportunity, there was no negotiation. I said
After
yes.
3 years of looking.
Yeah, and bothering Gary every couple months to buy one of his extras,
Or did I hear of anybody else who had one, please?
and literally scouring the world.
Right.
The ask price was $25,000 for that shadowless Chansey.
Wow. I'm seeing one on eBay today for 50,000.
and that's reasonable, I think.
Yep.
I mean, there's 15 in the world. How are you going to build a set without
You
it?
can't just grade one. That's the thing. You could buy boxes of shadowless.
1,000 of them.
My
You
mom's
wanna
like,
get a
where
10.
is this going? 50,000?
Yeah.
The only thing about it, most old PSA 10s, they're a little more lenient back then. I'll just leave it at that.
Yeah, you're adding up in your head, right? How much? Let's see,
If
15,000.
I saw a 6X cert PSA 10 Chansey, damn.
But how much is this?
That price point, though, is very similar to the first edition PSA 10.
Right, I've seen that.
So the fact that around the same time I purchased that one for 25, where the rarity of
What a
that
steal
shadowless
here.
version, I mean, it's pop 15 versus pop 45-ish.
I would not doubt at all that this Chansey was
You could've
graded
graded
by
it.
me.
It very well.
Gary, let me talk to you, brother. What card was not graded by you? Honestly. I want to say probably half of the cards I own came through your hands. You're a beast.
Years ago.
Well, it's a wonderful card, Gary, so I don't know why you gave it up.
Yeah, I know. What a mistake that was.
Yeah.
I'm going to skip this next card for last.
It's a pretty big card. Yeah, okay.
All right, we got the Clefairy. I remember her.
Number 5.
Wow.
So,
Number 5.
Gary, what's the story with Clefairy? Clefairy is actually a pretty special card. Wasn't it not the face of Pokemon in some of the early...
Wait a
Yes.
minute. Anybody see that? The dude's dog licked the Clefairy.
In some of the early...
Yes, because of how cute that character is.
Come
That
on,
was going to be
throw
the
it
first
down.
Pikachu. You know, that was going to be Pikachu.
This
Right.
next
Glad that's
one,
not
my friend Graham
I don't know about you
Steffen
guys.
pulled from one of Logan Paul's packs.
Graham Steffen did pull a first edition Gyarados from Logan Paul's box break. I think Andre was there. King Pokemon, I think, was there.
And this one's a
Watching.
legend. This is Gyarados.
That's a personal fave as well. Definitely a
That's
cool card.
so cool.
In the early release, there's a Gyarados, a Hitmonchan, Mewtwo, and Ninetales that were released as part of the theme decks for the actual trading card game. And these were extremely playable, very powerful cards. A lot of the people that opened those theme decks obviously played, the TCG game with them. If you were to actually handle any of these cards in person out of the pack,
Just sold
and
my
you place
Shadowless
it on
theme
any
deck.
type of hard surface, that card will no longer get a PSA 10. It will sustain some type of nick around the edge or a hollow scratch. This is a personal fave card of mine. Hitmonchan is an amazing card.
Hitmonchan.
Difficult one to grade.
Extremely difficult to grade. Out of all the theme deck cards, the Hitmonchan, because of that large proportion of the card that's hollow foil, there's only 40 PSA 10s of the Hitmonchan.
Wow.
See that?
And there were thousands of shadowless theme decks released to the world.
Right.
And we're sitting at a population of just 40 for the PSA 10.
This card is actually Steve's favorite. He loves Hitmonlee and
Mr. Ayo.
Hitmonchan.
Oh,
And that's because of Jackie Chan
Yeah,
and Bruce Lee
Bruce Lee.
are two of his heroes.
Wow.
And so Hitmonchan, Jackie Chan.
Look at
This
this
is one
house.
of his favorites.
That's so cool. This is actually a very special card because always came with a first edition stamp.
That's correct. It's the
Cheapest one
only
in the
hollow
set.
where every single one produced from the factory
maybe
had
not.
the first
Yeah.
edition stamp.
Yes, there was a trainer deck,
Better probably,
Hitmonchan,
right.
that was a non-hollow without the first edition stamp, but it wasn't hollow. Plus, these were
Yeah,
never
maybe.
inside of booster packs. You could not pull this out of a pack. You had to pull it out of a starter. There were two different stamps. There was a thick stamp and a thin stamp. I'm positive the thick stamps are the rarest.
I agree as well.
This is
from my
a thick.
experience.
This is a thick stamp.
I've always heard thick stamps are the rarest. But I find it interesting that you can't find thin stamped non-hollows. So that is interesting. It leads me to believe that because all of the non-hollows were always thick stamped for for Shadowless and first edition, I believe that's a correct statement. I don't have one right next to me to check. That I thought they printed originally with thin stamp, and they realized they were different and switched them to thick stamp. Yeah, so all non-hollows. Every non-hollow first edition base is a thick stamp. I've never seen a thin stamp. That's why I thought thin stamps were printed first. And then they made the adjustment, noticing all their hollows are coming with different stamps. I could be wrong, but it makes sense in my head. Which is opposite of what...
Stamp. I know because I probably had about 100 Machamps at one time, and like 10 were thicks. That's why I'm sure of that. Not PSA 10.
We love me some thick boys.
Like
Right,
thick
well,
boys,
that's
right,
a thick.
Andre?
So this is also the rarest of the Shadowless Machamp.
The exact population of the Shadowless variant in a PSA 10 It's unknown. Like I said, PSA is just starting to build that portion of the population report now. There's only currently 5 that are distinguished as
Incredible.
Shadowless.
Everybody's least favorite card, unfortunately, is the
You gotta show the love for Magneton, Andre.
Magneton.
But not any. How many of those are there?
Population for the Magneton is sitting at about 50 right now.
Okay.
That's not that many. Well, here's a really iconic card right here.
know you were
This is a
this
Gary
ball
card.
deep.
I purchased this one from Gary, so this is special for you to,
Really
to now own.
curious.
Can I
for
have
sure.
it back?
No. This to come out.
That is the Mewtwo.
I remember you.
Yep.
I remember
So pretty.
As a kid, that to me was the most powerful Pokemon. I don't know if
Yes.
it's a factor, but like, yeah, and it's
That
it's
guy.
translated to its collectability.
He is on board.
Massive.
Glad
Next
you guys
one,
confirmed.
Nidoking. Ooh, not like everybody's favorite,
Right.
but still really cool.
So, quick.
Not everybody's favorite. Nobody really likes it, but I just spent thousands of dollars because it looks good with all the rest of them.
A little story with this particular card. Well, the person who owned this actually acquired it as compensation for work that he was getting done on his house or something like that. So someone just like basically
Barter.
didn't have money and gave him the Shadowless 10 Nidoking.
Hey, ma'am, you want to come over and do my windows? I'll pay you with a Pokemon card. Yeah, sure, I'll be right over.
Which I bought, and yeah, it's a phenomenal copy.
The IRS has entered the chat.
Shot.
Bartering.
I want to see that. content.
Ninetales. Here we go. That's
I
a
want to
beauty.
see the back
Look at
of
that.
Andre's head.
Stunning
and
card.
Michael's head.
I actually think the Ninetales Hollow is one of the stunning
black
ones.
flame
it's
arrow?
got the
That's
depth
so pretty,
perception
yeah.
to it. And again, this is a theme deck card where it could be pulled in a pack or available in the theme decks. But again, its population is super low. I think right now the Ninetales PSA 10 Shadowless population is sitting at about 45.
45. And we got the Poliwrath.
Polyrath, I don't know. This is
There's,
not a very
there's
popular
Steve's favorite
card, even though I think it's actually like it's a water Pokemon. It's blue. I think it's awesome.
got
Here's a funny
10,000.
story. The population on that
He
card,
sold his house. to buy
it's
a
sitting
giant
around
collection of
42
Polyrath.
right now. I managed to collect 16 out of the 42 Shadowless 10s. of
You almost
Polyrath.
cornered the market.
So this is another Gary card here.
Ooh, Gary card.
Another special one.
Another Gary card.
Raichu.
Pikachu's older brother.
Gary, what the heck didn't you sell this fella?
Very low population. This is a pop 25 in PSA 10.
Jeez.
Andre, I'd say that your dad is the Raichu and you're the Pikachu.
Thank you.
'Cause you
Okay.
look so much like him.
Take it.
I'll take that.
Everybody loves Pikachu.
Alright, I'll take Pikachu.
And this is over a decade ago. I owned this and graded it.
So Gary, the first time I met you, actually, this was to buy this Raichu.
This one, huh?
Yep.
Is that right?
3 years ago or so.
Okay.
Next up is a big
is
3
7.
card.
This is a big one, yeah.
This is the Venusaur.
The Toad.
And I know, Gary, that's your favorite.
Sure.
It is. Venusaur is my favorite Pokemon.
That is a beautiful card.
No question.
Wow, that's because you like the nose.
I love the nose. It has that kind of like with a pug dog, you just want to grab their face and shake it.
It's a
Don't-
box.
With
Something
Venusaur, you just want to grab his nose and
Can't go wrong.
Michael, I really hope
That's
you went to
amazing.
Vegas.
These are so
all
flawless.
on
Like,
plan.
I've never seen edges that were so perfect.
But also remember, if Mike had like 3 of these or something, he would get rid of the 2 lesser quality ones and keep the best quality.
Is that right?
This is a phenomenal.
This is the
believe
best
that.
he's owned.
Yes.
What?
So-
I loved this card as a kid, and I never really owned it, but this
But
is
you
that.
do now.
But I do.
So
now.
this one was pulled by a Pokemon YouTuber called Pokemon Revolution.
Pokerap.
Mike. Pokemon Revolutions? How you gonna do them like that? They both chirped at him. Pokerep.
Pokérap.
Yeah.
Yes, I was lucky enough to be able to get the Zapdos from him.
I pulled the Zapdos too, actually.
You did. You pulled his Zapdos. That's right.
I'm glad he's getting his time in here. We're gonna name him Steve. I know he was labeled earlier with a name, but thanks, Steve.
Right.
Okay, now what's missing up in the corner over there?
So this is the Holy Grail, the most expensive. What was the prices that you guys have kind of seen it go for? And I know, Gary, you bought a few.
If you can get them for under $100,000, you're...
TCA Gaming bought one for about 100 grand. One sold for about 75 grand. I think it was lesser condition. All right.
doing good. I hate to say how much I've spent because my wife's going to see this.
Oh, my hands are like shaking.
So this is a spectacular version. It's incredibly well centered. It's a newer cert. It's a 400 cert, graded.
Cross that over to BGS or CGC, brother.
I would say late 2018 or so. At the time, I could tell that the market was starting to heat up, and I made, at the time, it was an offer that was 150% of what the last sold price was.
Jeez.
Like,
Gary's like, let me have it.
Was I had to replace this PSA 10 with a PSA 9 version, as well as obviously the cash on top of that. So I drove all the way up to Northern California, and I meant like real Northern California, like way above the Bay Area. It was actually
You gotta do better, Frankie.
a small town called Eureka. I met this guy at his local bank, and this guy, I mean, he's an older gentleman.
There you go, Steve.
Been collecting sports cards and Pokemon cards for years. Started off with his kids, but he actually ended up just continuing collecting really high-end sports cards, but as well as high-end Pokemon cards. Hey, he was showing around this Charizard card to all the tellers at the bank. We met at a bank just for security reasons. Everyone at the bank recognized that card and just how special.
Charizard just picking up chicks since the early days. Everybody knows Charizard.
That is. The PSA 10 Shadowless Charizard currently sits at a population of 55. But it's the most graded Shadowless holo variant, right? Because everyone that owns a Charizard, whether it's first edition, unlimited, or Shadowless, at this point in time in history, you need to get that card graded.
Right.
You know, it's an asset at this point.
Go ahead, cap it, Gary.
That is sick. Hoping it's some type of UV protection. It probably is. What a piece to put on the wall.
So that card alone was 100,000 if you're lucky.
If you're lucky. If you can find, especially a really good quality one.
That's the swiftest I've ever seen Andre move. He was like, no, whoa, 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 whoa.
Like that.
Oh, pretty special.
Oh my gosh. This is so cool. Jeez. My childhood's complete. I don't think I'll ever want anything ever again.
Yeah.
Mom, this is what we chased after.
I remember that.
Remember?
My little Pikachu.
I'm not even kidding you. When I saw your Instagram, I looked at it for I think like 3 hours a day. Just this whole page.
Right.
And I think I will look at the Charizard just like your kids were, just in bed, just looking at it for hours.
You know what? I always admitted to my kids, you know, going to sleep at night with the cards in their hand and staring at them. I never did admit that I was doing the same thing.
We all believe him.
So if you do that, that's totally understandable.
Gary, unfortunately, you've never owned this one, but I know
I never did, and this is an absolute beauty. This might be the best.
But you know what's crazy about this card in particular? The first 3 digits of the grade is 420.
Right.
Here.
Yeah,
That is
We've gathered here today to pay our utmost respects for the 420 Shadowless Charizard. Proceed.
2-0.
That is the most memeable number ever.
You know what it is?
Steve.
It's like the closest thing to being able to rewind time.
Yeah.
Steve. Just with the quotes from his
That's what it is.
nostalgia.
So here's how much it cost. Everything. No, the original listing price on eBay was $220,000. Michael and I came to an agreement, and I think everyone's really happy. He even included the other 87 cards to complete.
So, he listed at 220. The video says $200,000 investment. So, did you spend $200,000?
the full Shadowless 103 base set Gem Mint 10 flawless collection, and I could not be happier. And I realize it is a ton of money, but like my friend Brett says, it is the closest thing we have to a time machine back to our childhood. And it doesn't matter how much it costs me, because the memories are priceless, and Pokemon always brings everyone together. And I hope that's why you're here too. So while you're here, smash the like button and subscribe to my channel.
Mr. Andre, I'm going to link his channel down below in the description. That was freaking awesome. Much props to Professor Oak Callie, Andre, Jikh, King Pokemon, Steve, Frank the camera guy that kept shooting their back of their heads and the front of the cards. Beautiful collection. Like he said, it's not really an investment. It's more of a gamble. It's like putting 200 grand into Dogecoin and hoping it goes to the moon. It's a lot cooler to look at $200,000 worth of Pokemon cards, though. That's for dang sure. Let me know what you think. I like doing this type of video. I've wanted to do it for a while. Some type of reaction video. And much props, Andre. Great collection. Hope to be there one day. Peace.